Welcome back to another episode of the Valaery Rose Show. I'm your host, Valaery Rose, and today's episode is going to be about empowering the next generation, focusing on self love, awareness, and having a real conversation with an amazing woman who is the first guest here on the Valaery Rose Show. So, let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an incredible voice for our youth, a youth personal development coach, author, speaker, and the founder of Legends Rise Youth Foundation. Her work is ultimately changing lives, helping these teens to build confidence, bring awareness to them, overall anything personal development, healthy relationships, and we're diving deep into that today. So help me welcome the lovely Coach Elizabet.
Hey.
Yes, I love it.
I was like, I'm gonna applaud for myself.
Yes,
And
I'm applaud for you too, girl. Thank you.
Absolutely.
How are you feeling about being here?
I feel like we never left.
Yeah, I
was
feel
here
you.
last time,
Mhm.
and I absolutely loved it. I just want to shine some light on you too to say
Thank you, Queen.
thank you for putting this together. Thank
Yeah.
you for shining light to other people,
Right.
to everyone, your community, your tribe that watches and listens, because I think we need a lot more of this thriving, positive, empowering each other, women empowering women, and all kinds of stuff. But so thank you for
Of course.
shining that light and for
absolutely.
having me here, and it's an honor.
Yes, I'm like right back at you. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. So I want to start off with what is your why? And share a little bit about like your life journey, whatever it is that you want to share in regards to what led you to this journey to want to work with teens and becoming this life coach and primarily focusing on the youth. So talk to me, girl.
Oh man, there's a lot of whys that come into me starting the foundation, the Legends Rise Youth Foundation, and then also doing the life coaching for the teens.
Yep.
It started with my niece having some challenges, personal challenges, and just seeing her, seeing my sister, her family, how it affected a lot of things.
Right.
And not only in this realm with family, also, friends and my kids that I have are, 17 and 13 years old. And
Mhm.
there's so much anxiety, depression, peer pressure, belonging, all that I think I didn't have
Mhm.
growing up when I was a kid back in LA. Like
Yep.
you just did it, you got up, and whatever you were feeling, you just got over it, right?
Right.
And now it's just so different. There's more. I think it's more because of the social media.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That anxiety, depression, cyber bullying
Mhm.
is up to the highest. So for me, I wanted to help the youth in a different way because I saw it affect my family.
Yep.
I saw it affect my children
Yep.
and other kids. So I wanted to bring awareness on mental health, emotional health, social health,
Yeah.
all things.
Right.
Things that the teachers probably don't have time. Unfortunately, they're
Mhm.
doing their best to teach
Right.
the students at school, but because they have a curriculum and they have
Mhm.
to follow certain things,
Mhm.
that they don't have the ability to do that. So if
Right.
I'm able to come into the schools and help and assist and bridge that gap,
Right.
it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love that because you're bringing your personal experience aside from the professionalism of it. And when you bring up schools and you're saying that you go into these schools, so do you have like a certain role at a specific high school or how do you conduct this serving aside from doing it in your personal life with the youth that you know?
Yeah, so I started at JFK.
Okay.
It's a high school
Mhm.
in Corona Norco
Is that the one where
district.
you hosted that awesome
Yes.
mommy like and daughter event?
Yep,
Okay.
that's the one that you had gone
Yep.
to. Yes.
I absolutely
So
loved it.
I started there with them back in 2020, when COVID hit.
Okay.
Obviously, everything was virtual. I had already gotten my my certification for life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And my girlfriend who works at the school, who's a teacher and a peer counselor,
Okay.
she hit me up and she said, hey, I know you're doing life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids are going through a really, really tough time
Right.
through COVID and everyone's home.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider doing a virtual life coaching session for the students.
I love that.
I'm like, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we did it. I actually asked the students. I knew what I was going to talk about
Right.
within that, but I wanted to make sure that they felt heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her, let's do a mini survey, confidential.
Yeah.
Ask the students, what are the top 5 things that you guys worry about the most?
That's a really good question.
The list, girl, that we got, I was beside myself. I was like, wow. So what I was originally going to talk about and help them with, I was like, nope, we're changing gears.
Yep, it changed the whole direction. And I love that you got their input because even sometimes as adults or parents, we think we know what our
Yes.
kids need, but you doing that survey and I think even making it anonymous help them to be like, okay, they're not going to know exactly who it came from and getting their needs met and having their voice heard. So I really love that.
And you think they're high school students.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have so much anxiety or depression or worry? It's just school, right?
Yeah.
But there's just so much that comes with it. It's finding themselves, identity, relationships, which is something that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I think when they have someone there that's going to listen and guide them because they have been through that,
Yep.
been there, done that,
Right.
right? We can guide them and fill that gap,
Right.
shorten that gap,
Mm-hmm.
that we can help them with things that they can't see right now as we share our experiences and our stories.
Yep.
Like, I know what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. Let me tell you,
Yep.
so that you don't make the same mistakes.
Right.
Oh, I mean, you want to make mistakes, right?
Yeah, because then that's how they learn. But like you said, it just minimizes a lot of the mistakes that they're going to make.
Exactly. So we were doing that for quite some time through COVID, all virtual.
Okay.
And then after that, they allowed us to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing programs for them.
Nice.
Yeah, in the classrooms. And then my vision was bigger and I wanted something larger.
Mm-hmm.
So then we started hosting mentorship leadership summits at the schools.
I love that.
Mhm.
That's really amazing. You're definitely impacting on a large scale and only continuing to grow. So since you've been doing a lot of these seminars or workshops and working with the youth, what would you say before we get into all of like the positivity and how they can overcome this? What are the main challenges that you've been seeing and why do you think so?
Oh man, there's
Yeah,
a
so
lot.
like you mentioned like social media, relationships, even lack of knowing what to do and how to understand their self-love and finding those healthy coping skills or outlets. So we can start wherever you want to start.
You know what? One of the major things for the students in high school would have to be relationships. Relationships.
What's something that you see commonly like challenging with the relationships?
Yes. Aside from the likes
Mhm.
and the friendships, do I belong? Do I have to change who I am so that I
Right.
can fit into a group?
Mhm.
Which is normal. It's
Right.
it's part of the whole process of growing and learning.
Yeah.
But one of the big things I have been seeing in a lot of the conversations that I have been having, and I'll ask the students, they'll ask me, can we talk about relationships? Boundaries,
Mhm.
self-love. And this also goes with the boys, not just
Because they
the
need
guy-
it too.
You
Yep.
know, they don't do much for the boys, and I
Yeah.
think it needs to be heard,
Right.
and we need to do a lot more for the gentlemen
Mhm.
because in growing up, at least for a Latina and for the boys, it's you
Mhm.
don't talk,
Yep.
you don't share how you feel,
You don't cry.
you don't cry,
Mhm.
you keep it in, and you're strong, and let's go.
Yep.
And it was kind of like that too for the females, but
Mhm.
for the gentlemen, I think it was more embedded in them.
Yeah, I agree.
So their emotions and their feelings, they keep them in, but it's okay. It's not a weakness,
Right.
right? So a part of the relationships is learning how to communicate. How do I communicate what I want?
Mhm.
How do I communicate my love languages or how I feel or what I want, what I don't want, my
Right.
boundaries? And it goes both ways for just not just the girls, but also for the young men.
Mhm.
So that's actually been one of the things that the students have been asking about, and which is when we talked about doing the podcast.
Yeah.
That was one of the major things that I really wanted to discuss because as these young kids are going into college,
Right.
they need to know what their boundaries are. They got to be aware about their attachment traits that they have.
Right.
They have to heal their past in order to know what they truly want or how are they bonding with somebody.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, I like you, you like me, we're going to date, great. Why didn't you text me?
Right.
Or communication, right?
Right.
So I think it's so important to teach them now so they are aware later on in the future, not just in college, but later on when you're adults, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to learn now how to navigate life and experiences. Even me as a 41-year-old, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
You never stop learning.
Yeah, that's true.
And evolving and learning who you are and what you want
Right.
and in life in general.
That's true. I totally agree. I always say, I'm like, we always learn literally until the day we die. Then that's when we stop learning. Not to be dark, but I love the combination of what you say, the communication and relationships. And when you bring up relationship, you're not only talking about them being with a significant other, it's the relationship with themselves, with potential teachers, with the people that they're going to come across as they continue to grow and evolve throughout life. So, what would be some tips that you would provide for them to start building healthy relationships, with it being like a generalization, or if you wanted to specifically pinpoint with a significant other, just navigating through the world?
You know, one of the many things, and I talk to my daughters about this all the time, because they ask me, well, what's self-love? People talk about self-love. How does that even start? What do I do? Like, I don't wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I love myself. It's a process. It's a journey. You're not going to wake up every day. I even struggle with that. You're not going to wake up every single day in the morning and say, I love myself. No, it's the little things that you do for yourself that make you feel whole.
Right.
What makes you happy? What sets your soul on fire? You like reading. You like going out to walks. You like Starbucks. Those little things that you do for you are the small things that are going to make you fulfilled and happy. That's true. Not feel like you need external sources to come in to fill that void.
Right.
It is all within. That's a self-love.
Yeah.
The little things that you do.
Right.
I'm going to go take a bath because it's going to make me feel relaxed. I'm going to go hang out with my friends because they bring light into my life.
Right.
You know, I'm going to go take a run. I'm going to go watch a movie.
Yeah.
Those little things that you continuously do bring you back to who you are, because you're getting to know yourself.
Right.
You're getting
what you like, what you don't like.
At the end of the day, you have to love your own company.
Right.
And a lot of the students that I've coached, adults and also the young ladies, I would tell them, go on a date by yourself.
Yeah.
A few times. They're like, Coach.
Yeah, they're like, what does that mean? How does that look?
Yes. No, you have to enjoy your own company.
Right.
You have to fill your space first.
Yeah.
And then that person's going to come and fill it.
Right.
You're going to understand your core values, what you value, what you don't,
right.
Your non-negotiables, what you will allow and what you will tolerate. Plain and simple. True. And those boundaries, it's huge too. A lot of people are like, well, boundaries they're bad. No.
It teaches people how to be able to treat you and respect you and kind of like work with you.
Yes. Yeah. Boundaries are not for other people.
Right.
Boundaries are for you.
Right.
So that when something's coming your way that you know it's going to make you feel a certain way, you say, I'm going to remove myself from this because I know what it's going to do to me. Right.
Give an example in your life of what a boundary is for you. Or you can provide a boundary like that you think youth should have, so that they understand, okay, this is a boundary and what happens if someone crosses it.
And it's the communication, right?
Right.
I'll give an example. A while ago, for like my mom and money. I grew up with my parents. I always heard my parents, we don't have money, don't spend on this. Like, why are you buying that? It's too expensive. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I knew that I would never, ever say that to my daughters.
Yeah.
I don't have money. I don't do, like, we can't because we don't have money. I grew up like that, scarcity.
Yeah,
You don't
same.
have it, right?
Right.
So I work my tail off.
Mm-hmm.
I love things.
Yeah.
I do
And you
love
got to
things.
work hard to
And
earn
you
them,
gotta work
especially
hard.
nowadays.
You got to work really hard for what you want.
Right.
So for me, I work hard. And if my daughters want something, absolutely. Oh, you
Mhm.
want to do this? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to earn it, right?
Yeah, I was going to tell you, how do you deal with that? Especially, and I could totally relate with you coming from that scarcity,
Mhm.
that sometimes even myself, I just want to give to my daughter and forget she's got to earn it as much as you want to give to them, making them earn it as well.
Yes. Well, so back to my mom.
Yeah.
So I learned that when I would, for example, I was going to take my daughter to, I think it was Legoland.
Oh, nice.
And it was for her birthday. It was just going to be the three of us, my
Yeah.
2 girls and myself. And
Mhm.
we're going to go to San Diego. And I was like, yes, we're going to stay out there, whatever we want. It's
Right.
your birthday, fun, like, yay, right? My daughter shared that with my mom.
Mhm.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And my mom has the most incredible and amazing heart. And I love her for it. Like, she really is. And I love her. But the mentality with money is different.
Yeah.
So my daughter shared, oh, we're going to go to, Legoland.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay out there. And it's so
Mhm.
much fun. And my mom's like, no.
No deben de hacer
No,
eso.
está muy caro.
Mhm.
No, it's too expensive for your mom.
Yeah.
My daughter felt bad. Oh, what you talking about, girl? You're good.
Yeah.
No. So then I had to explain that to my daughter. Like,
Right.
this is where Nana came from. This
Mhm.
is how she grew up.
Yeah.
She's not doing it in a bad way. She
Mhm.
thinks she's trying to protect. But
Right.
this goes back to how she grew up. It has
Right.
nothing to do with us.
Yeah. It's coming from her perspective. Exactly.
Correct. Her
Mhm.
childhood, how she grew up.
Right.
So then I had to have a conversation with my mom.
Mhm. And that, I'm sure that was hard.
I had to tell her, Mom, I love you. I know you don't say things to hurt.
Yeah.
And I know you want to protect. But when those comments are made, like, my kids feel bad. I don't feel bad because I know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't affect me because there's no truth behind it.
Right.
But you have to stop and think.
Mhm.
Now, my boundary now is I don't talk finances and I don't share certain things when it comes to that.
Yeah.
She's doing better now.
Okay.
She's shifting.
That's good.
Rewiring her mindset when
Yeah.
it comes to that type of stuff. But
Right.
that's an example for me. Or if I had a conversation and there's something that I want to share that I bought or I'm
Yeah.
going to go do, and I see that she's going to go in that mentality,
Yeah.
I simply say, Mom, okay, I just don't want to talk about it.
Mejor ahí lo dejamos.
Ahí lo dejamos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And she goes, okay.
Yeah.
That's a boundary. That's it. It's not for them. It's for you.
Right.
You're protecting your peace and how you want to feel, plain and simple.
Yep.
A boundary is not a wall that you're creating to not let people in.
Right.
It's for you. It's for yourself. It's not a bad thing.
That's true.
Right?
Right.
So that's, something that you can always do. And people and my students think, well, it's a family member. How do I even do a boundary? Lovingly and healthily.
Mm-hmm. Because then they have that guilt. Like, if I don't people please them, or they're an elder and they're a family member, I have to do what they say or do something to make them happy. But then ultimately it's going to cause that individual, whether it be a youth or adult, to be unhappy because they're not setting those boundaries. And it seems like with your mom, it was that foundational conversation first,
yes.
Of, hey, Mom, you said this to my daughter. It made her feel this way. Let's talk about it. So now
Yes.
moving forward, you stayed consistent with that boundary and shut it down in a loving and peaceful way, that now your mom was just like, okay, like, ahí lo voy a dejar, instead of like trying to fight you through it and get her point across.
It's conversations. It's how we communicate. It's what you value.
Yeah.
That goes in the relationships. You meet a boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the boy is not always texting you.
Right.
And your love language is probably words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
The boy is not texting you all the time
Yep.
and saying, how you doing? And I
Right.
miss you and I'm thinking of you, right?
Doesn't mean he's a bad boyfriend.
Correct. Yes. He's probably busy. That's probably not his love language. And what I've seen in the past, been there, done that, is, well, are you thinking of me? Why aren't you texting me?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Instead, which is what I'm teaching
Yeah.
our youth, our students, is
I know you're coming with a great example right now. I love it.
having a conversation
Yep.
to ask and say, I value
Mhm.
communication.
Yeah.
I value consistency.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good
Right.
not to have that. Let's have a conversation on how you connect. See how different that is?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, you don't text me enough. You don't talk to me enough.
Because then it's coming off as like an attack. And then, like you said, depending on the way the message is coming across, the tone of voice, the body language, which can then make the other party, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, come off as aggressive, getting defensive.
Exactly. And it's a learning curve when it comes to that. But I think one of the major things that I want the young ladies and even the gentlemen to
Yep.
know, you are so powerful. Your words matter.
Yep.
Your voice matters even when it shakes. Get that? Your voice matters even when it shakes. That means when you're sharing your truth, sharing what you want, what you're thinking,
Yep.
expression, not demanding, but expression, it matters.
Right.
No matter if you have that fear, but it's how you communicate. It's how you're sharing and
Right.
expressing what you truly want and don't need. And it's those healthy boundaries. But if we don't learn it now, later on in the future, it's going to be, not that it's impossible, it
Right.
just gets tougher to change
Right.
a lot of things in that. So for me, relationships with the students is huge because they're going to only not see it in relationships romantically, but with friendships.
So now that you shared all of that wonderful information about boundaries, how to set them up, how to handle them, let's talk about communication, because I know communication is a big thing, not only with relationships, but in every aspect of our lives. So what do you want to enlighten us with in regards to teaching the youth about communication and how important it is?
I didn't learn how to communicate properly. In my household, it was yelling so that people could hear you,
Yeah.
right? I come from a huge family, 9 siblings,
Oh my God.
5 sisters, I'm the 6th, and 3 young boys.
Okay.
So 9 total, including the parents, add another 2. So communication was never something that we learned, right? It was like you yell, and if you yell and you're the loudest, you're going to get heard and
Right.
what you need. It's not always that case, right?
Right.
So I think when you communicate clearly, the other person understands where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And it's never pointing the finger, you did this, you did that.
Right.
Again, it's back to this situation didn't make me feel heard. Your texting or the texting or that you weren't doing
Yeah.
made me feel dismissed, made me feel not heard, made me feel not validated. So it takes that away from the you, right?
Mhm.
Because the moment we point fingers,
Right.
the person takes it personal. And I
Mhm.
think so many of us do.
Right.
So I think it's just learning the different ways and tactics of having those conversations.
Just like choice of words putting together.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. It's just an expression of what you truly want and need and how a certain situation
Mm-hmm.
is making you feel.
Right.
And it's not, the other person's not going to feel offended. They're going to say, "Oh,
Yep.
no, I'm sorry. I didn't know that
Mhm.
that made you feel this way."
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I did that was because
X, Y, and Z. And I love that you bring that up because sometimes the other person doesn't know what you're feeling. We're not mind readers to know, like, oh, this is what this person needs. So if you communicate it and clearly and using not pointing fingers and referring it to ourselves and how we're feeling and how we perceive it, it then gives them that idea of, okay, now I know what it is that you need. Let me help you fulfill your needs because now you're communicating to me your expectations, your boundaries, and what it is that you want. So I love that.
exactly. And you know what? Actually, I wanted to even ask you
Yeah.
a question as
Girl,
far as
ask me
because
a
we're
question.
going
Yeah.
because you have a teen,
Yes, I
a
do.
young lady.
She is 15, going to be 16. It's a bittersweet moment because I'm like, she's like
Mhm.
leaving her early stages in life to like getting into young adulthood, and it's a little scary, but it's a bittersweet moment.
It is. So with our girls, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a 17-year-old and I have a 13-year-old.
Yep.
One of them has a boyfriend, the other one not yet.
Yep.
Not yet.
You're like, espérate, you're too young.
Hold on. So trying to wrap my head around the other one.
Yeah.
But one of the, and you can, jump into this
Yeah.
one, but one of the things I had talked to my daughter about having a boyfriend, they want someone there and they want to feel fulfilled and loved and the connection and,
Right.
that person fulfills me and they make me happy, right? And that's so much responsibility for another person to come in and feel that for them.
Right.
So how, like for you on your daughter, how would you explain or help her through navigating that? Give me some tips.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a really good question. So I think I've done a pretty good job at telling her and prioritizing with her, and us being life coaches. I feel like that's where it kicks in, and that's where the cool mom vibes. And sometimes they don't like it, where I have like with her 1 hour of personal development every day. And it's some sort of form of just like life coaching her, whether it's like a worksheet or just having a talk, whether it's relationships, emotions. So I feel like for the last few years, as I've grown myself and healed myself, I've then applied those tools for her, because as you said, there's things where we grew up, y así nos tocó la vida, and we chose to no longer be a victim and instead teach ourselves, like, how can I be this better, healthier, and happier individual? How do I become my best self? So I now teach her that. And in regards to relationships, I always told her happiness is a choice. Just like you said, it comes from within. And you can't go and seek happiness from someone else, because you're already missing the core, which is the happiness that you have and the self-love for you. And she's been in a few relationships, two serious relationships, since she's been like in leaving middle school, going into high school, and now she's in 9th grade, going to be in 10th grade next year. And what I've told her is same thing that you've mentioned, like have clear communication. Don't ever let someone disrespect you, because in a relationship, I think it's always very important to have loyalty and respect. The moment someone breaks the loyalty, you shift your mindset and perspective on them and how they come through for
100%.
you. And the disrespect as well. The moment, your partner starts calling you a bitch or this and that, it's like it changes the way that you perceive them. And it's very hurting. And I do tell her, I'm like, I don't talk to the people that I love like that.
Yes.
And a big example is my daughter's been a witness to all of the things I've gone through in life. So she's seen me be in a 10-year toxic relationship to now being in a completely healthy relationship. And I told her, like, look at me as an example. Remember all the shit I went through that you saw, the things that were really bad versus to the choices that I'm making now that led me to heal and be in this happy, healthy relationship. And I tell her it all starts with loyalty and respecting one another. Because the moment you disrespect each other, it's just not a good thing. And just telling her, like, communicate with this person. Don't let them treat you like shit, ultimately. So I tell her, like, don't let anyone, like, cheat on you. Don't let them make you feel insecure, because someone should be with you to add to your life, not take away.
Add value.
And sometimes they do exactly add value. And it's not about, like, conveniencia or, well, oh, what can you give me?
Correct.
But I tell her, I'm like, if you can be alone, and you should be alone to make yourself happy, and someone else comes along and you guys are even happier, whether it's the experiences, the new mindset, the love, that sense of security, because as much as they love us and we give them that sense of security, it's different than a romantic connection. Correct. So I teach her a lot about mainly like the disrespect, communication, and she's really big on that. I know she's had some challenging times with her previous partner, and just giving like that girl the benefit of the doubt, and pretty much saying like, oh, she's treating me like this, but I know she cares about me. And I told her, look at me, you got to look at people for their actions, not their words. Listen to their words, give them the benefit of the doubt 1-2 times. But the moment they consistently show that pattern of your words are not matching your actions, you got to let them go no matter how much it hurts. And I think that goes into emotions. It's really hard for teens to control their emotions because they're learning it. They're going through like their growth.
Hormones.
Yeah, hormones. So I'm like, that is how I help her like navigate relationships.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. My daughter was telling me, and that again with the communication, right? That one of her friends liked someone.
Okay.
She liked them, but they were friends. Mm-hmm. And the boy liked her, like really, really liked her.
Okay. That's a tough one.
So they started hanging out, right? And there came a point where her friend, she's like, I think I just want to be friends with him. So I asked my daughter, why doesn't she have a conversation with him
Yeah.
to let him know? Because she's going to string him along.
Ooh.
And it goes both ways, right?
Right.
If you don't have that talk, which is simple,
Yeah.
and say, I really value your friendship.
Right.
I've had a really good time just talking and communicating,
Yeah.
but I think we're just not in alignment
Mhm.
and we should go our separate ways.
Yep.
It's okay to say that.
Yeah. But even that's like scary for the youth. I know even us as adults, when we're like in our unhealed era, it's hard to even communicate that across because you're like,
Yes.
I don't want to hurt their feelings. They love what they have going on. But you're right. I think communication solves a lot of things.
Having hard conversations.
Right. Yep.
So I told her, you have to learn, or you're going to learn to
Mhm.
have hard conversations.
Right.
Not just in relationships, not just in friendships,
Yeah.
also in your workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So this is teaching you to say, hey, because that kid just kept coming to her and
Yep.
wouldn't stop and wouldn't stop. He was a sweetheart,
Yep.
but he just wouldn't stop.
But because she didn't communicate that just yet, right? So he doesn't know any better. He's like, well, I still got a shot, until she says otherwise or shows
Exactly.
with her actions.
Exactly.
Yep.
The actions were showing something different
Mhm.
until finally she said she did it. She had that hard conversation.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how did she feel afterwards? She felt relieved. She felt great. How did he feel? He felt better
Yeah.
that she wasn't stringing him along.
Right.
You see, you have to. There's
Yep.
going to be that at one point in
Right.
life, and you just have to know or sit down and have that one-on-one with that
Right.
individual so that they know where you stand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And you
Yep.
don't have to apologize.
Right.
You don't have to apologize for your feelings or where you're at in this season in your life.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. And she's like, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, I love that because I'm like, everyone's feelings are valid. And that was a win-win situation where now she doesn't feel that burden of, I don't want to hurt his feelings,
Yeah.
but I don't want to lose his friendship, but I should communicate. And then it's empowering for them both because then she develops the confidence. And I think that's where a lot of self-love and confidence building comes from, is when we take those hard steps or we do those things that we know we need to do for ourselves, and it happens, and then we feel good. And then now he knows, okay, she's not an option. I love her as a friend, but it's time to move on and I can go see options elsewhere.
And he learned.
There you go.
He learned. If these patterns are following,
Right.
that means that individual is not interested. And she learned as well. If he's doing this,
Yeah.
he's really interested. So I better change my actions or my behaviors.
Right. Exactly.
Instead of, continue with the guy, with the kid,
I hear
with
you.
the boy. Kids.
There you go. Yeah. And in regards to relationships, what would you say are some red flags and green flags for the youth?
Ooh.
Like, how can they identify, okay, this is a red flag and this is a green flag? Red flag meaning it's not good. Green flag meaning it's good.
See, a lot of individuals, even us adults, right? Especially with the youth, they think that if you're in a relationship, you're going to lose who you are or your identity, that it's only them.
Yeah. And we know that's not true.
No.
Right.
And that you can only have that life with them.
Mm-hmm.
In a healthy relationship, you can be independent.
Yeah.
You don't have to be codependent with the other person.
Right.
Two healthy relationships are two healthy people. Okay, there's no such thing, and I'm going to state this, there's no such thing as a healthy relationship. You create it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
That's true.
Okay? So talking about red flags.
Yeah.
A person that's going to love you, honor you, respect you,
Mm-hmm.
your boundaries and who
Right.
you are, and allow you to be who you are,
Mm-hmm.
will never tell you, no, do not go and hang out with your friends if that's what makes you feel happy.
Right.
No, don't continue your work. Don't continue your passion. They're going to stop you for so many things.
Yeah.
They're going to be jealous. They're going to be controlling.
Right.
They're going to want to know you every single move.
Yeah.
And if it dims you and if it suffocates you, it's not for you.
Right.
In a healthy relationship, you're going to feel free and you're
Mhm.
going to feel peace.
Right. Absolutely.
So I always ask any young lady,
Yeah.
young man, adults, how does your nervous system feel when you are with them?
Right.
how do you feel?
Yeah.
And how do you feel when you're not with them?
Yeah.
Because that's going to give you so many keys.
Yeah. You're going to
You-
find the answers right there itself with the way that you feel and the way your body is in their presence and not in their presence.
You want peace.
Right.
You don't want to feel anxiety. You don't
Yeah.
want to feel worry. You don't want to feel on the edge,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the red flags would be someone who's trying to kind of tie you down.
Yep.
You can't be who you are authentically and
Right.
true to yourself.
Right.
Gaslighting you.
Oh, yeah, for
Making
sure.
you feel like you're wrong when in reality you're not,
Mhm.
right? Changing the perspective or the narrative for
Right.
you. I think also the awareness on, again, and I sound like a broken record, but your nervous system, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Do you feel calm? Do you feel peace?
Right.
Do you feel at ease? Or do you feel like on the edge? They call
Right.
you, oh my God, you're going to go out with your
Mhm.
friends. Oh my God, I didn't tell him or I didn't tell her,
Yeah.
right? How do you feel?
Right. And that's definitely like no way to live, because then ultimately that individual isn't going to be happy. And instead of coming from a place of fear or frustration or feeling frazzled, maybe anxiety, like you said, they see the phone ring, they're like, oh shoot. And it's not a good feeling overall.
It's not.
Right.
And if the students, the girls, the young men ever feel that, you have that power
Right.
to say, I value peace.
Mm-hmm.
I value, right?
Yep. Communicating their needs again.
And I'm not feeling that.
Right.
And I think we need to part ways.
Yep.
And lovingly, you can go both ways. And
Right.
sometimes some people just like, no, please don't leave me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you need.
Right.
And you know that you need to walk away, and it's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
Right.
And the positive on the other side, all the other things, the negatives that I just shared with you,
Yeah.
think about it in the positive way. I feel seen. I
Right.
feel heard. I feel so much peace. I don't have anxiety.
Right.
I don't feel like I can't be who I am
Right.
with him alone and with my friends.
Yeah.
You have to be the same person everywhere.
Yeah.
When you're with him, when you're not, and he's going to be more than okay with that
Absolutely.
and support and love you
Yeah.
through it.
I agree. I absolutely love that. And this is where we're talking about like all of the positivity in a relationship. And just like you mentioned right now, when they're like, I know, don't go, like stay, and they try to manipulate them back into the situation. What are some tips that you feel? And these tips that we're providing, we're focusing on the youth, but ultimately all of these practical tips, affirmations, positivity, and everything applies to anyone in life. But what would you say are some coping mechanisms or just different strategies that a youth can use when someone is trying to reel them back in and they know it's not good for them? Different outlets, different ways of thinking, different actions to take to refrain from getting back into that relationship that they are aware of. There's a lot of red flags going on. I'm not feeling seen, heard, or loved. But when they try to reel me back in, I voy corriendo.
Right. Oh, yes. Okay. So in that type of situation, obviously you've already removed yourself from the situation.
Yep.
Right.
That's number one.
Okay. You've removed yourself, but they want to reel you back in.
Yep.
So when you know that you're feeling an emptiness, a void, and you're feeling alone,
Yeah.
and if he or she messages you saying, come and hang out, I miss you,
Mhm.
because you're alone, you're going to say, okay, yes, I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? You go and you reach out to other people in your network, your tribe, your friends or family that you want to hang out with.
Right.
So you fill your time with the good, positive stuff
Yep.
that you think this person is going to fulfill.
Yep.
They want to go to the movies. You call or text a friend. Hey, what are
Mhm.
you doing? Would you
Yeah.
like to go hang out? I want to go watch a movie.
Right.
Or let's go have coffee.
Yep.
So that you know you're filling that void for now
Right.
that you think you're missing
Yep.
that he's giving you.
Right.
And in reality, it's the good stuff, the good people, the good energy that you want,
Right.
because that's going to uplift you.
Yeah.
Not that.
Right.
So in these situations, I would say gear toward friends.
Yep.
Hey, would you like to go hang out? Let's go have coffee.
Yep.
Do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That will allow you not to go and run
Right.
to the kid.
And to even focus on the
and
kid.
to focus
Right.
on that. Yeah. You switch it.
Yeah.
It's just your perspective. We don't
Right.
have to stay stuck. We choose to.
I agree.
You choose to. So you can
Yep.
move.
That's
You're not
true.
happy? Move.
I love that. So how do you feel about the recommendation? Because I was one of those people in my unhealed era with that 10-year toxic relationship. And there was times where it'd be on and off, and I would know that what I'm doing is not the best choice and I shouldn't have been in the relationship. Every time I left multiple times until finally the final time, I was like, hasta aquí llegó. But even then, seeing all the signs and everything, I would still go back. And for me, what worked was, you already know this person isn't good for you. Back the heck out. Write down the reasons why they're not good for you. And you'll be able to see alone there, like, wow, this is how I get treated. And this list is full of negativity. And my next step was to completely block them. Because if you know you don't want them in your life and they're not serving a good purpose and they're treating you bad, I'm like, well, might as well block that communication via text. And then it went to sending me emails, blocked you on the email. And then finally,
oh my God.
went in person to my grandmother's house. And I was like, oh my goodness. And the final thing I remember was just getting some flowers sent over on my birthday. And I told my grandma, I don't want them. Like, they don't serve a purpose. I don't want this person in my life. And that was their last form of communication. So I think sometimes we have to block the person to not allow their communication to even get us the thought to go back on our word and the action that we made, because we know why we made the decision ultimately, because of how we feel, how we were treated, and knowing it's not good for us. So would you recommend the youth to just be like, block?
Yes. Block.
Yep. You mentioned you went through something like that.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yes. Been there, done that, hit replay
like,
again, and
now, girl.
and then again. But what I learned in the journey, because everything you're saying,
yeah,
I've been through that too.
Yep.
I've experienced it.
Right.
Left relationships.
Yep.
And came back.
Mm-hmm.
Left, came back. Left, replay.
Yep. And a lot of it stems from like a lack of self-love.
Lack of self-love and our patterns.
Yep. That we're used to, the comfortability.
The pattern.
Yeah.
It's what we're used to.
Right.
So why are we going to change so that when something good comes into our lives, we don't know how to accept it,
right,
and allow it and bring it into our lives and run with it, right?
Yeah.
It's so foreign, and then it gets boring because the person is not keeping us on our toes, which is why I know I kept going and going back to this particular individual.
Got it.
So yes, the blocking for sure, but I think you did, said write it down.
Right.
It's, what are my patterns?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be aware.
Right.
If you're not aware, how are you supposed to change anything?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not aware, how are you supposed to have a different direction?
Right.
You're going to continuously doing the same thing and with a different person.
Right. Until you figure out why. And just like you said, for you, it was the familiarity and having someone keeping you on your toes. And for me, it was the fear of the unknown. Like, I already know what this is like, but if I step out of this, I don't know what my life is going to be like. Y no me quiero quedar sola. And this was like young me, not healed at all, insecure, no idea of personal development. But that was like the pivotal moment in like my transformation journey that made me realize all the things that I was lacking. And as much as sometimes we want to put the blame on the person we're with or others, it's our fault because we don't choose to fill ourselves up, figure out why we're doing what we're doing. So you're right. You got to figure out, why am I doing this pattern? And for me, it was like, I'm scared to be alone. I have a fear of the unknown. I feel like I'm not worthy because, was a single mom at the time. And it was like those negative beliefs that were in my mind. And so I had to overcome them and say, no, like, I value myself. It's a big world out there. It's a big world of opportunity. So many different kind of people. Like, let me now make a list of who I really want to be with and what I need to change
Exactly
to make myself that high value person to then attract that. Like you said, 2 healthy people make that healthy relationship.
You become that.
Right.
You become that. So in that situation, I love what you said. Write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Write down, 1, make a list of what are my patterns.
Right.
What have been my patterns in the past in relationships.
Yeah.
Write it all down. And then 2, in this relationship, how am I being treated or how do I feel?
Yeah.
This. And then you can see. It's going to trigger a light bulb.
Right.
And we've been allowing these things.
Mm-hmm.
We have tolerated these things.
For way too long.
For way too long.
Yeah.
Because we feel not enough.
Right.
And sometimes we think, well, if I stay and I do more and I love them more
Mhm.
because they're with me, they're going to change.
Nope. And a person is only going to change if they truly want to. You could be the best
Correct.
woman on this earth, look good, do good. But if they don't want to change for you, they're not going to do it no matter how much you try. And I know because same
Yes.
thing, I was in that situation.
Yeah, the change
Mhm.
has to be internal. No
Right.
one will ever shift or change unless they truly want it and desire it
Yeah.
for themselves,
Right.
not for you.
Mm-hmm. I
We
agree.
can't. And I've seen so many individuals in relationships. Well, I know that he's going to change eventually, so I'm going to give him a shot. Or I know she's going to change eventually, so I'm going to give her a shot. We're going
Yeah.
to stay together and see if things do truly shift.
Right.
No, they're not. No one can change. They have to truly want it internally and they
Yeah.
have to do the dirty work.
Yeah. And it's going to take time. Like you said, that dirty
So much
work. And
time.
that's the transformation process where it's very messy, but it's beautiful at the end. And we're always going to be transforming, elevating, thriving, and evolving. But it's going to take time. And I think nowadays people want things done fast. They want
Oh,
to see
yeah.
a change right away. But that is just not how the good things work.
No, and for all the teens, all the youth, everyone listening, ask those hard conversations in the beginning.
You went right into what I was going to ask you next. I'm like, provide us now with some
Yes.
advice for either the parents, the teens, or just adults that are in this space working with the youth. Like, what's some advice you would like to give them?
Man, because we're talking about the whole relationship thing,
Right.
and I honestly think it's just so important. Is for the teens, parents, anyone listening, honestly,
Yeah.
have those conversations that you don't have normally.
Right.
What are your core values? I know it sounds so odd and different, but you're going to see if that person's really in alignment.
Right.
It's not just the chemistry,
Mhm.
it's compatibility,
Right.
right? What do you value? What do you want in life?
Mm-hmm.
What's your vision
Right.
for life? Even for high school.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah. How do you treat others too?
How do you treat others?
Right.
How do you handle conflict?
Right.
Do you shy away? Do you yell?
Mhm.
Do you like to sit down and have conversations? Things like that, because those are going to give you answers on as far as how that person's going to treat you and what your
Right.
relationship is going to look like.
That is true. And it's just like a matter of asking those questions, paying attention to all of those actions, and really telling yourself, like, is this the person I want to be with or not?
Mm-hmm. No, you have those conversations, and then
Right.
it's not going to be like, oh, you're kind of maybe what I want, so I'm going to say yes to that because
Mhm.
you kind of check some
Right.
of the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
No, the most important things that you hold to a higher standard because it's a standard,
Right.
then you go based off of that, not just if they like music that you like or the
Right.
same sports that you like or the
Right.
same activities.
Right.
You can have chemistry and be somewhat compatible with some individuals that love
Right.
the same things that you do, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's going to be a life partner
Yeah, that's
at all.
true. I agree. 100%. I
Yes.
agree. Now, Coach Elizabeth, I would love for you to take the time to talk more about how people can serve your foundation. I know you mentioned your book coming out. So if you want to share something about that and then just your coaching overall. So, my girl, this is your chance to sell yourself. And then after that, we'll go ahead and do that Elevate in 16 right there. You'll be able to give like some tips to the audience. So hit it, girl.
I love that. Okay, so Legends Rise Youth Foundation just started that nonprofit a few months ago, and the website's there, legendsriseyouthfoundation.org. It is basically that. It is something, it's my baby. It is something that I have created because I saw that there was a need in the high schools for students, not just academically, but that you're going to be able to assist and help with mental health, financial literacy, self-defense, which is one of the major things that we're doing there as well, and prepare them for life because life's going to come at you and how are you going to handle it? So we come into the schools and we run these amazing and incredible programs, and you're impacting and serving a lot of the individuals. I did create also a scholarship foundation on there as well. So if you click the link, you'll be able to see that scholarship foundation on there. If you would like to support, volunteer, let me know. Send me a message. Would love to talk with you as well. And if you would love to donate, The only way we're able to run these programs for free, because a lot of the students and the parents don't have the means to be able to send or have the students do coaching, life coaching, therapy, is to have them on site. Is you can donate anything, $5, a dollar, $100 donation would help with the support. And the last big thing that I am doing, I wrote a book and I finally finished it. I had been working on it for a couple of years. It's going to be published in August, so I will give more information on that. But it's called From Mess to Masterpiece, 16 powerful stories, lessons that I've learned throughout the years on learning, leading, loving, and letting go. So stay tuned for that. Super excited. And again, thank you for having me.
Of course. Wow. I absolutely love that. That was amazing. And I look forward to reading that book. And you said 16 life lessons. So it's like, go get this book when it comes out. I'm going to make sure to plug it in the link down below when it comes out. But you got to follow her social media platforms. I'm going to plug all of that in. But before we go, I'm starting something new with the guests where it's called Elevate in 60. So they got 60 seconds to answer these 3 questions. So here they go. Are you ready, girl?
Oh, let's go. All right.
Okay. Question number 1. One thing you wish every teen knew.
That you're enough. Your voice matters.
I love that. A quote you live by.
Oh man,
it doesn't even have to be like a specific quote. It could be like a dicho, like something, a positive affirmation that you tell yourself.
Ed Milet. I'm sure everyone
really
knows Ed Milet. Love. I've been hearing him and listening to him for a very, very long time. His book, The Power of One.
Okay.
You are always one question away from a completely different life. You are always one action from a completely different life. Just one.
I love that. I didn't even know that. I need to look into that because even I posted something on social media where it's like you're one decision away from starting to build your best life. And it really is one decision, one person you talk to, one event you decide to go to, one podcast you go to, and things can just like sprout and go so many ways. So I love that. And the final one is one thing you tell your teen self. After experiencing all this life and you're so young and beautiful still, and if you would reflect back, what is one thing that yourself now would tell your teen self?
Oh, never give up. Honestly, never give up. Whatever life comes and throws at you,
Right.
Have faith that it was meant for you for growth.
Yep.
It's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Yep.
Why? I don't know. I have faith that
Right.
there's a reason for it, and I'm going to move forward. I may not understand it right now, but I know later on in the future, I will get it.
Yep. I love that. Like you
Embrace
said, sometimes we don't know, but I think the key is when things are happening for us, all we can do is ask those powerful questions of, what is this trying to teach me? What can I learn from this? What can I get out of this? How can I make it positive? Because going back, a lot of things in life are all about our perception and the mindset and attitude we choose to have towards what's happening to us. Mm-hmm. And finally, you did a good job. You're really quick.
I'm trying
You're really good. Would you like to leave the audience with any final words before I end up closing out?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Don't forget that you are amazing. No matter what battles you're going through, because we're all facing something in our minds. We have that inner annoying roommate in our head telling us that we're not enough, we're not good enough, we're not lovable, whatever it may be. I want you to know that you are capable, you are loving, and you are doing the best that you can with your situation. Give yourself grace. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I want you to know that you are doing the best that you can. And just have faith that things will always get better and be better for you.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here, sharing your words of wisdom. Now, audience, this is where we come to an end. And I just want to remind you to like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to put some comments like when you want Coach Elizabet to come back, if there's specific topics that you want us to hit, and we are more than happy to serve you. That's what this space is here for. Make sure to check out the description box below because I'm going to put all of her contact information if you're interested in booking either of us as speakers, We're life coaches. Feel free to look at all of that so that you can get in touch with us. We are here to serve, help you have a better, healthier, and happier life. And wishing you all the best. I'll see you in the next episode.